Hey, how y'all doing? This is HJ Blackmen's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where wisdom talks. That's what's happening. I'm your host, Mr. Phil Strickland. We are happy to be here today, but hey, you know what? It's been one of them kind of days. Let's jump right into it. I'm sitting here trying to do the best I can with what I got here in Ohio. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. It was kind of a slow day. I think more of us probably should have taken some time off. I think more of us probably should have taken some time off and stuff. But I'm here in the Lord's house because that's what I do. I'm here to take care of that and stuff and just speak to y'all, see what's going on. We're trying to look at, for for some it was a great day. For others, oh man, this day was terrible and stuff. But you know what? You got to have balance. You got to be able to see both sides to stay balanced in this day and age, and that's just how it is. Let me cut to my first guest, my buddy, my brother, Mr. LJ. What's up, brother? How you been, sir?
What's good with you? What's going on, man? I'm feeling great, man. Regardless of what today is, man, I'm feeling great. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand exactly what you said is exactly my point. You got to see both sides. A guy was on here trying to argue with me today. Well, it'll be 12 more years for them get back in there, and you thought Harris was going to be next. First of all, who said I thought anybody was going to be next? We are
Yeah,
all at the end of the day. At the end of the day,
yeah.
we are all Americans,
That's
regardless of who you voted for, I voted for, who got put in there, who didn't. We all Americans. We all gonna have to deal with it. So why do you want to fight me when you should have been, worried about the person that you putting in office at the
man.
time? I
That's
mean,
I,
your fight's not with me.
it's not. It's not. I mean, to shift back the thing. I mean, first thing we got to remember is we all Americans here. All right, all Americans. We trying to do the best we can with what we got. Now we already know how the game is played. We voted. All right, this is how it turned out. All right, so now it's time to work together and stuff. Now I don't think that the side that lost is going to be trying to jump on any type of January 6th type of energy, huh? You heard what I'm saying? But man, there's a lot of disappointment out there and stuff, and it's hard to try to figure out how the heck we move forward here. How do we move forward from here and stuff? The fight is still on. Did you get a chance to see what Vice President Kamala had to say for her concession speech?
No, man, I stayed up all night watching, waiting to see what was gonna happen and stuff like that. Then I had some
Yeah,
things going on with my family. Matter of fact, right here, this is it's my arrowhead because
yeah,
my family's Native American.
that's what's up.
Well, not Native American, indigenous. Let me
Yes, sir.
put it that way. But this is also an urn, so it holds my sister's ashes that just recently passed.
Oh
So
man,
to keep it close to my heart, so I had to
man,
do
much
some
love
stuff
to
with my
y'all.
family today and whatnot.
Mm,
But with that being said, no, I did not get an opportunity. I've been trying to look for certain things, and I kind of been trying to keep myself off of social media because I don't want to see the backlash and all the hate and people going back and forth with each other about dumb stuff. Because at the end of the day, what I'm saying,
mhm.
even the people who won, you still couldn't control the outcome.
Yeah,
Because if somebody didn't vote alongside you, you would have wound up getting it. Somebody was like, "Well, yeah, I see a bunch of sore losers." It's quite funny that 4 years ago, y'all was them same sore losers so much that y'all stormed the Capitol and hurt people and stuff. I mean, so at this point, is it really about who is winning or losing? Because I feel like when you act like this, all Americans lose.
yeah,
Whoever you're violent with, or whoever you're violent with, or aggressive with, or whatever loses, you lose because you show your proverbial backside and who you really are. I mean, I understand competitiveness, leave that with the sports, but when it comes to politics, man, I mean, there's a reason why it's there. There's a reason why we're governed, and we need to be a lot nicer to each other. But I tell you this: this is what I told somebody.
what's up?
I didn't get the person that I wanted in office,
Yeah,
but the person we got in office as a comedian is gonna write a lot of jokes for me. So I'm cool. I'm cool. I mean, the joke's been coming, but ever since he ran the last. Matter of fact, when hasn't Trump had been comic material. Trump was comedian. Uh, Trump was funny before he even thought about running for. This dude been funny all his life, man. I'm just saying. So when it comes to comedy, this dude is gold. So I mean, to
Yeah.
have him back in there, and then hopefully, we won't have to deal with him after 4 years. But
I see you got
he did
I,
say,
you got your peanut gallery right there with you. Who's that?
yeah, this. You know what? This is my baby Chino. This is the brat. This dude, man, he bugs me. He's at me. He's like, if I'm not petting him 24/7, he got to be all in my face. Look at him. He
I'm
don't
good.
he don't care about nothing going on. All he care about is rub me, rub me. Look, Chino, come on, man. Chuck. This
I'm,
dude right here, man. And
that's
let
all.
me tell you something about pit bulls. People act like pit bulls are the most vicious animals in the world. This dude is so emotional and loving. He cries for real. I've seen tears come out his eyes. I swear to God, I ain't even lying to you. This
That's what.
dude, he made a mistake and killed a groundhog one time and cried about it
Oh, he
because
was just trying to play.
he was just trying to play with him, and the little groundhog ran into the street, so he ran and grabbed him, to
Yeah,
put him back in over to the ground. But he didn't
yeah.
realize his strength, and it was a baby
It's,
groundhog. And when he put it down, he got the trying to make it move again, and he looked up at me like, "Damn, I killed him."
oh, oh,
Look, I'm not doing this. Y'all think I'm doing? Look how much he just crawling up on me, y'all. I'm not even
man.
doing that. Look, I try to push him away. No, no, he's not letting me.
I'm so
Get back, man. Get back.
we treat in our household and stuff. And so I'm right with you. We had a little roughneck dog, little pit bull midget that was named Jax for a long while and stuff when the kids were growing up and coming through our teenage years and stuff. And that Joker he should have been named Tupac, man, because that Joker was tough, man. He was tough. He was tough. But yeah, he was real loving with the girls and
Not
all
you
that. I used
climbing
to,
up on me, man.
come on, what in the world? This ain't this ain't
You are not a
Pinocchio.
puppy.
Well, while LJ gets his dog under control and stuff, in talking about what has been going on with today, though, in all seriousness, man, it ain't easy, man. It ain't easy and stuff. I'm gonna be transparent. I voted for Kamala. I voted for love. I voted for, a plan to sit down and come together and bipartisan and that sort of thing. But this project 2025, I got to tell you, I got concerns and I got questions, and I'm hoping.
Correction.
Go ahead.
Correction. It is not Project 2025.
What's it
And
called?
that's what the argument has been for a lot of people. Oh, he's distant himself from it's Agenda 47. But if you read Agenda 47, which nobody's gonna read it, it's a 948-page manifesto. But Agenda 47 is actually just a revamped Project 2025. And both of them were written from former Trump cabinet members. So that's the thing. So we had to make sure we state it the right way because people are going to say, "Nah, he distanced himself from that." And well, okay, he didn't distance himself from Agenda 47. Look that
Yeah.
up. And there's some other things that he's done. Just had to,
Well, no. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I heard some of the different highlights and whatnot about it, and I know that there's just a lot of people in our America that they're trying to make some hard adjustments on. Not to mention this whole idea of doing away with the voting. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? What's the plan with that? I mean, this sucker wants to stay. And if he's for all the people, then I'm all for him and stuff. But being with just some of the people, I mean, even today, I kind of felt like there was a couple of different situations that I was in where, the microaggressions were starting to come out. And I said, you know what? It's going to be a code switch. We know how to be, one way or another, depending on what circles we're traveling in and stuff. But the common denominator that we need, I think, is just more manners, and being polite from that standpoint and stuff. Because otherwise, all I'm saying is, hey, if you don't want to dance, don't play no music. All right, I ain't trying to dance, but if you don't want to dance, don't play no music. You know what I'm talking about.
Ooh, I know. And I know you, Mr. Phil. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Phil Strickland, you're clean comedian and stuff like that. He's in the house of the Lord right now. So I'm trying my best to be mindful and respectful. I don't want to say nothing crazy,
Thank
and get out of character, get out of Phil's character, because my character cuts. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to make this. So this has nothing to do with Phil Strickland. So I don't
right.
want anybody getting on here and saying, Phil's a racist or whatever. But I
Not
do want
afraid.
to address the fact that right now I feel like it's a lot of white fear. But we can't just say racism though. We can't just put racism in the mix, because there's a lot of things that cause this thing. I really think I heard somebody else say this, and I totally agree. I don't think a lot of the reason was because of racism or because of misogyny. Nobody wanted a woman to run or whatever. I think a lot of it is a lot of people really believe that the economy was better under Trump,
Yep.
not realizing that Trump inherited Obama's, implementations.
That's
No,
right.
they don't realize that Obamacare. Trump tried to get rid of affordable health care.
Yep. Yep.
Trump didn't want to sign off on the stimulus package. The stimulus was something that they put in place because projections of things that might happen and future pandemics. They were looking at stuff. Obama was looking at stuff like what happened with was it Ferguson when the levees broke? I believe it was
Okay.
Ferguson,
Okay.
or wherever that was. I apologize for not being fully aware, but I know it was some things that happened, and they were like, okay, we need some type of pandemic relief. They weren't expecting that particular pandemic, or even at that time, but he had
Yeah.
those things in play, and all he had to do was just follow what it said, and he did not want to, and things of that nature. But what we got to understand is right now, I feel like a lot of people feel like, what, we had some money under Trump, and we feel like the economy was better then. So let's roll with that. So we're not just gonna say it was racism, but to be quite honest with you, there was a lot of white fear that played into this too. They were afraid of the changes that America was making, and the power structure that would probably fold and collapse in on them.
I was. They've made it to where being racist is like not a big thing. At least not like what it was. That used to be like nuclear. Where if anyone touched that, where it was at work or something, if someone was, doing things that were insensitive to minorities and whatnot, be them black folks or Hispanics or ladies or what have you and stuff. That was a tough deal. But now it's like, yeah, well, so what? What's that mean? And and I'm even seeing that being a bigger issue in the different circles and stuff that I travel in and stuff, and it's stressing, if nothing else and stuff, and I'm like, okay, so that's the problem. Now, what's the solution? Because we can always point out all the problems, but we also need to be able to bring a solution too. And like I said, for me, it seems to be like, look, all right, let's talk with some respect. All right, let's understand that we coming from two different sides on this thing, and we need to understand that. Look, don't be sitting here trying to bully me and all that. And that's what turned me off with Trump. If Trump would have walked in love more or less for all Americans and stuff, I feel, instead of calling just saying all kinds of ridiculous stuff. I probably would have been like, all right, well, hey, let's look at the economy, let's figure something out and stuff. But this thing of I even go back to like the Central Park Five and just the Black Lives Matter different things and stuff that we were bringing up at those times and stuff that we're really shedding light on and stuff. And now we're getting into critical race theory and stuff that we have with schools and all that. And that trying to be pushed out, the whole idea of, well, woke is bad and all that. I'm like, wait a minute. All right. There are different points of view on how this thing works. But if they ain't gonna give no love to these school shooter issues, these medically needed abortions, if you will, among the other things and the rights that a woman has over her own body and all that, then hey, this other stuff, this is just par for the course. I mean, what do you think, man?
I think it's crazy, like you said about the rights of the woman. Like Moreno had a rally and stuff, and he said some stuff, and I heard some laughs, some oohs, some ahs. But it was very not only telling, but it was very scary what he said. I mean, he made a joke of it, like it was funny, but it's not really funny though. He said something about, well, for people that are for abortion, or what they say, whatever that is, for abortion and stuff. These 40 to 50-year-old women, why are you even doing it? You can't have babies anyway. And I'm looking like, okay, but
That's
you're a
crazy.
man. You can't have babies either. At
Yeah.
least they at least they at some point in their life could have had a baby.
Come on.
You can have a baby at all, and you still want to speak to what a woman can do with her body. I just feel like that's just that control thing where it's like telling people it's certain things that I don't understand, and it's weird to me. I've never done drugs. Let me just say that I've never done drugs. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink alcohol. Anything of that nature. You know that you sell
Yeah.
alcohol at our shows and stuff like that, and I just don't partake of alcohol. Nothing says bad for anybody because actually I believe that a little alcohol is good for the body. Even the Bible even tells you that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's medicinal things. It's just that the overindulgence of it. Getting to be a drunkard is one thing. The body says a little wine for the body. I mean, the Bible says a little wine for the body. Why? Because healing. There's some healing factors to it.
I can see that.
So let's not get into that. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying I don't indulge. But with that being said, you know, we have, alcohol is legal.
Mm-hmm.
But weed in Ohio just became legal, but it's still a fight to be legalized other places. But my point is, how do you tell somebody what they can put or can't put inside their body? Yes, certain drugs are really bad, heroin, things like that. People have addictive natures, but I'm not trying to control someone's addiction because no matter what I say or do, they're going to go for it anyway. If
Mm-hmm.
I make it legal, they're going to get it legally. If I make it illegal, they're going to get it illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing stopped nothing. It's just now you're jailing someone because they made a choice to put something in their body.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't get that. I never really understood that right there. It's like prohibition and all that stuff. Why are we stopping people from doing what they do when we should teach them better and hope that when we find out that things have been legalized, less things happen,
Mm-hmm.
because it can be regulated when it's legalized. You can regulate it more than when you say it's not legal. At that point, the only thing you can regulate is somebody's freedom by locking them up.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right on that. Let me speak to the alcohol side of it. One of the things that I say in my sets that I've had, and we've both done different comedy shows and stuff where people have alcohol there and stuff, and they have other things, weed right now is frowned upon and whatnot. But I'm not sitting there trying to boss somebody into what they doing. Okay, I'm human, just like everybody else, and the only backyard I'm worried about is mine. Okay, now I'm trying to lead by example and do what I got to do, but I also know that Jesus' first miracle was water and wine, so it must have been important. I'm just saying, huh? So I'm looking at that, but also I'm saying, hey, you know what? It's one of those things where you got to be able to take care of your responsibilities. All right, you got to take care of your responsibilities and stuff. Don't just be sitting there and doing what you got to do, and then having your poor choices affect other folks and stuff. It's one thing if you doing whatever, but look, you got to take care of your responsibilities, and whether it's alcohol or marijuana or whatever medication that they've had, or even the opiates and all that sort of thing that was over prescribed, in recent years and stuff, to where people have lost a lot because of that and stuff. I remember seeing people on the ambulance and responding as a first responder. I've been doing that for almost 30 years now and stuff, helping people at their worst, when they were in their worst situations and stuff. A lot of um, a lot of Narcan and the different medications that they've made available to the community to be able to help out their friends and what have you. I've seen some of that stuff firsthand, not only in the at the original spot I worked in, which I call LA, which is just Lower Akron. That's Canton, Ohio. And then when I was in Portland, man, it was crazy. And we were there just after the lockdown and all that stuff. And just to see all the different people that were really having a hard time, that's what it comes down to. It's not about, oh, you druggy, you drunk, you this, you that, and stuff. What are we doing? You know, and that's what I didn't vibe with where the Republican Party is going right now. No this. I was a Republican for a good long while and stuff as a young man and stuff. But as I started to try to understand things a little bit different, look at history of how things have unfolded and whether it was fair or unfair, this is just what happened. And I'm trying to be part of the solution and stuff. I'm saying, okay, just because it's not right for you, just because you don't like it, hey, if it ain't your business, it ain't your business. That's just how that breaks down. All right. The Lord gave us free will. And if what you're doing is not hurting another person, then that's your business. If it is, we got rules and stuff to deal with that and programs that people can get into and all that stuff. But to look down on somebody because of what they smoking, what they drinking, the fact that they got to take a mental health day, huh? Now we're talking. It's the fact that they're sad or having a hard time about something. Well, you just need to buck up, Buttercup. No, no, ain't no Buttercup. I'm about to, I ain't gonna go there. But you know what I'm saying. You supposed to be a Christian. I'm a
Hey,
Buttercup.
Mr.
Lord,
Mr.
Lord,
Phil's a clean Christian, but he ain't no chump. Just put it that way. Hey, and let me say this about that. One time, my sister, who wasn't a believer at the time, I don't know what she do now. I remember I was locked up. Yes, I have a record, and the Lord just spoke to my heart while I was, going through my little stint and stuff like that. And as I transitioned back into the world, after I got out, it was some things I was trying to do. But see, here's the thing: when you become a Christian, people tell you what you're supposed to do, but there's
yeah,
no real training of how to transition into that Christian life. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of bumps and scrapes you gotta deal with on your own because
yeah,
people won't they'll tell you what to do and they'll judge you for not doing it. But people don't understand. Just like I was a child in life, I'm also a child in Christ. So I gotta
okay,
learn how to walk. I gotta get off this milk. The Bible speaks of that. The
yeah,
meat of the word, things of that. I can't eat the meat of the word because I'm not ready for that yet.
right,
I need that milk. I need to learn how to. We call this a walk. Well, guess what? Babies crawl before they walk. So I didn't have a Christian walk. I had a Christian crawl. You know what I'm saying? but I remember one time I did something uncomely, and rather than try to, encourage me and say, now, you know what, you stumbled, get up. My sister was like, oh, I thought you supposed to be a Christian. So you know what
uh
I said back to her? I said, you know what, you supposed to be a Christian too.
huh.
Like, I
Oh,
don't see you doing the Christian stuff while you at it. While you
oh,
judge me, so since I say she's like, but you say you a Christian. So since I say it, it don't matter. Right is right and wrong is wrong. If I'm supposed to do it, you supposed to do it too. So don't worry about what I said. So I said all that just to say, there's a lot of judgment out there, like you were speaking of earlier. You got some people that sit there and say, oh, she's an alcoholic. She always drunk. But you have to drink every weekend you go out. Just because your alcoholism is spread out a little bit doesn't mean you're not an alcoholic too. You just a weekend alcoholic. You still gotta. I can't have fun without a drink or two. So why are you judging this person because they get drunk every day when you got to get drunk every weekend? I mean,
oh,
it really doesn't matter. Your vice and their vice is two different vices. I had a brother that was a crackhead.
mm,
Actually, I got two brothers that was crackheads. One was the kind of crackhead that you might catch in your house walking out with your valuables, and the other one, he was just a recreational crackhead. He liked to smoke and drink. He was married, and he knew that if he came in with no money, his wife was gonna be tripping.
yeah.
So crack was part of the budget. You know what I'm saying? He
I'm
wrote
not.
out the grocery bill.
I'm just saying, dang.
Yeah, I mean, he had his grocery bill, he had his light bill, he had his crack bill. You know what I'm saying? Hey, crack was part of the budget. And if he didn't have enough money left over at the end of the day for crack, you know what I'm saying? So everybody do their stuff different. You know what I'm saying? You can't judge a person for what they doing All you can do is look at what they're doing with themselves. I can't judge you for being a crackhead, but if crack is controlling you to the level where you doing the wildest stuff and just going out there and doing anything to get it, then yeah, we might need to have a little conversation. Like, hey man, you might, I ain't telling you not to, like you shouldn't, but maybe you need to slow that down or something because it's not really, working for you. But that's my point. We all say that you supposed to be a Christian or you supposed to be doing this or you supposed to. All of us are supposed to be doing something. All of us supposed to do our part. Just because one
Yeah.
person might be failing, your part where you're failing is instead of you trying to help this person, you kicking them in the butt. We will be. I've seen so many times where someone will step over a homeless person to get into the grocery store rather than try to help that person get up. But at the same time, maybe that person ain't trying to get up. I mean, but I don't know until I try to help
You know what?
them. And
That you saying that's absolutely right. A couple of things I was thinking about. One, um, there's all about walking in love, and if you're actually trying to help somebody out and stuff, hey, if I'm doing something and I'm just so deep into it that I can't, I hope I got the right people around me to be like, "Hey, no, whoa, what you doing, man? Pump your brakes, bro. Is you all right? Do you need some help?" But if I come like, really, you don't tell me enough. I expect those that love me to kind of step back and stuff. Hey, don't forget me and stuff, because that might be part of my whole situation. But you can still step back, and what I do is I step back, put these hands together, pray for you, and be like, all right, Lord, next time I come across this whole situation, I need you to give me the words or the actions or whatever it is you want me to do. Send me, I'll go. That kind of mentality. But Lord help. All right, because if they come at me any kind of way and start playing some music, I'm gonna dance, and I don't want to dance, Lord. I don't want to dance like that. Gangs don't dance. And they don't dance no more. Anyway, I'm looking at it like that.
I was laughing because you said I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna put these hands. I thought you were gonna say put these hands on you.
I mean, I can put them together, or I can, no, hey, don't let me, hey, So I'm with you. I'm with you. Something, but a different cut to that was the whole idea of, well, Phil, you don't judge, all right? So you don't judge as a Christian, right? I was like, hey, I try not to and stuff, but I also don't want what I'm doing or what anyone else is doing to hurt somebody, because I've heard this argument. Well, yeah, um, Trump, he may say all this stuff and act, say these hateful things and these mean things, but you don't need to be judging. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Somebody got to stand up and be the adult. All right. Somebody got to stand up and be like, hey, we don't talk like that. And say, it's free country. I say what I want to say. I say, listen, that's a good way to hurt someone's feelings. And hurt people, once again, they fight. All right. One way or another. They you won't offend them, is what it is. And are we really trying to offend each other? Because we can all be offended all day. And the Lion King, Mufasa killed the main lion, killed, what's his name? Simba's dad.
Yeah.
Simba's dad's name. Dang it. What is his
Oh, you
name?
talking about yeah, I know you're talking about not
James
who was
Jones.
that
I
Mufasa.
thought Mufasa was the bad one. No, Mufasa was the good one. Scar was the
No,
bad one.
Scar was the bad one.
Scar was
Scar
the
was the
bad
bad
one.
one. Mufasa
So
was the bad one.
when Mufasa got killed, Scar became the king over the lion pride and all that stuff. You saw after a time there was the food. The female lions was just like, this is miserable. Hyenas was running everything. I mean, it was a bad situation. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that that could happen, but hey, you know what? We got to do what we got to do. We got to play
Let
our
me say,
position, even when
let
we're
me
losing.
say that.
Our position,
Let me say
especially.
that happened.
Go ahead.
Let me say that can happen. As a matter of fact, I just had a recent thing, and I'm not gonna go back on Facebook with this person, but
Yeah.
they really got above themselves to the point, about this Trump stuff and whatever, this that and other. All y'all stupid MFers, and you know what, LJ, you a little B word. I'm like, hold on. I mean, is it that serious? You don't even know this man. This man wouldn't pour water on you if you was on fire. I won't say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you willing to call me this, that, and that? All right, conversation over. I'm done because at this point, And this person is another comedian. Like I told him, I guarantee you won't say that when I see you. Well, I live in West Milton. If you want to pull up, I'm like, you know what? First
Mm,
off, I didn't say
that's
this
not.
to him, but I'm like, first off, I'm not gonna pull up to your house in West Milton in a town that I know is full of racists. I'm not
Mm,
gonna win that. I'll
mm,
be stupid to even think about it.
mm,
But I'm not gonna do it because it ain't that serious to me. But I will see you. We in the comedy community. Is many times I've told a comedian that talk, out the side of his neck. Oh, I'll see you. We do the same stuff, and I wound up being booked on the same show or booking the show that they didn't know I was the booker. I was the
yep.
behind the scenes booker. But I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Put him on the show. Put him on the show because I told him I'm gonna see him one day. And when they got there, it was you know what? Remember that conversation we had when I said, when you said what you call it, when you say it now? No, I'm not gonna grab you. I'm not gonna slap you. I'm not gonna fight you. But I'm gonna test your character. Are you gonna say what you said behind that keyboard of protection? You know what I'm saying? When you was
Yeah,
like this, safe and
yeah.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna say that what you said then now? Cause I
And
don't
another,
think cause you ain't
and
got
another,
you ain't got yeah, cause you ain't got none of these keys blocking this swing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They right there now. You behind them now hiding, but you ain't gonna be hiding for long. Come on, come on. You know what, I'm not gonna knock them keys out, but there's gonna be some teeth that's gonna fall. Something white is gonna fall. But the thing is, it's not even about being violent
yeah,
as far as physicality. It's about
mhm,
being violent in nature because sometimes our words breed violence. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I said, he called me the B word. That is a violent word. Whether it hurt me physically or not, or even emotionally, it triggers an emotional response.
yeah,
And one thing I've always told people, I teach my son this: you can't control how someone responds to you. Because
hmm,
his mother was one when we were together that would always say, "You could have did this. You didn't have to do it that way." You're right. I didn't have to do it that way, and you didn't have to do what you did to piss me off to have to make a choice of which way I wanted to do it.
hey
You
man, that
can't
just breaks it.
choose.
That breaks it down to the basics. Hey Henry, we see
You
you on
can't
here,
choose
man.
how. Look,
LJ, this is my buddy Henry. Hey, it's good to see you,
what's
my
good,
man.
Henry?
How you been?
What's good? What's good?
That's
Man,
my middle name.
we trying to make it happen and stuff. We talking about how to positively, constructively, maybe positive ain't the right word, constructively deal with these new times that we have to deal with as black men, people trying to do the right thing and lead by example. You know what I'm talking about, man. Give us your 2 cents on how your day went and how you start looking at how the things are going to go towards the future regarding all this.
My day went. I woke up today unapologetically black, so that's how today started. Um,
That part.
the go forward, man, is just honestly, man, show up and take up space in every room that I'm in. Make sure that the room knows I'm in there, and make sure and understand that I know we live in this mantra that our job is not to educate those around us who are unaware of our cultural history and ways, but at this time, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah. When you say take up space, can you break that down a little bit to those of us who aren't quite familiar with that?
Yeah, man. That means don't ever minimize yourself. Every room you in, show up big.
Hmm.
That means, say what you need to say, be all right
Yep.
feeling how you feel. If you got to respond a certain way, respond how you need to respond, but show up and take up space. I think a lot of times we show up in these rooms and we minimize ourselves because it's comfortable, right? You don't want to deal with the conversation. I don't feel like educating people today. I'm tired. I'm drained. I'm not monolithic. I'm not feeling like representing the culture today. But you're gonna have to show up, man. It's gonna take all of us in each of these rooms we go in because there's only so many seats at the table, right? And
Yeah.
if it's just one or two of us at every table, you got to take up space.
Yeah, yeah, that actually goes. That statement right there goes a long, long way. I don't know if you all had looked at the definition of. I kept hearing the word fascist getting thrown around back and forth. Fascist, 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 and I'm like, what is that? What is? I don't understand exactly what that is and stuff. Obviously, we can go to Google and whatnot, but a good definition that I heard it was more of a nationalist way of looking at things everybody else that's not like them is discounted to the point of ridiculousness. And it kind of went that way. I'm interested to see how you all see that word as fascist, and is that something that you think that we got to be aware of when it comes to um, our future president that we're looking at? What you think, LJ? Talk to me.
Well, see, the way I look at fascism is this. It
Because I'm
it's an
about to put.
authoritarian.
Yeah.
Fascism is an authoritarian way of thinking.
Hmm.
So with that, authoritarian means authority, which means it's a controlled way of thinking. It's impressing itself upon you. So I feel like yes, uh, we don't know yet. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say it's this, that, and other. We just started this. The election just ended. He just got in here. So we really don't know what's gonna happen. But if I go according to the things he has said he wants to be a dictator. He
Hmm.
has said that he wants to dismantle the Constitution if he has to, so he can have more control. Again, control, authoritarian. What's that? Ultra nationalized political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. That's the things that he's about. He's trying to suppress your opposition to him. He's trying to stop you from saying no to him or telling him he can't do things or not doing the things the way that he wants it done. And I feel like that's when democracy has been destroyed because democracy is America. It was built on freedom. Democracy is a part of that. Now, here's the thing. The funny thing is, America was built on freedom, but the freedom that it was built on freedom, but the workers were slaves. Let's just put it that way. It was built on freedom, but the workers were slaves. So it was also built on slavery. So when you talk about the freedoms, you talk about who are these freedoms for? Well, we know who the
Hmm.
freedoms were originally for, but at this
Hmm.
point, we've come into the ability to kind of take those freedoms more and more and more for ourselves. And that's what I feel like
Hmm.
we need to do. At this moment, we got to kind of deal with these next 4 years and see how they go. If they extend into more years or whatever, if he changes stuff. But right now, I feel like the best way that we can combat this is to educate ourselves on what's going on. Stop being the kind of people that just hear this or somebody said that or I listen to this. No, it's time. It's really time to wake up and start doing your own research, looking things up, googling stuff, making don't just because somebody said something. Keep talking about that fake news stuff. Is no more time for that. Right now, we need to educate ourselves, and that's the only way. The reason why the slaves were able to revolt the way they were was because they were educated in knowing who they were at that time. Before that, the slave masters told them, "Hey, there was one story about a slave master whose wife was teaching the slaves how to read, and the husband came in and said, 'What are you doing? Why are you teaching them how to read?' It's like, well, it's like, well, some of these books, if you teach them how to read, they'll know how to read these books, and they'll know that they're more than slaves." And they won't want to be slaves anymore. Right now, they don't know. It's just like an animal. A dog don't really know it's a dog. It just knows it's alive. It wants to eat. It's hungry. It got to pee. It don't really know anything about power and how to live and getting a job and going to work. It don't know that stuff. And that's how they treated us because they looked at us like lower animals, but not realizing we all are animals. We're mammals. So, but we just happen to be able to think. So once you gave me that education and taught me and gave me a mind, and I realized I was human just like you, I stood up just like you. I'm a man just like you. I wanted more for myself. I didn't want to keep getting treated like a slave.
For sure, for sure. Um, I guess I'll intro into what a Maya Angelou quote: "When a person shows you who they are, believe them." And I think right now that's where we are. I mean, the proof is not per se in the pudding just yet because the actions haven't been done. But at the same token, there has been a pathway laid forth of what the plan potentially could be. So like LJ said, if we don't educate ourselves and get ourselves ready for the plan, they playing chess at a high level, man. They're playing grandmaster chess out here, and we playing, hopscotch, trying to keep up with a chessboard. So we're gonna have to do a better job at educating ourselves through mentorship, through programs, through whatever. We got our own racial and cultural stigmas that we gotta get past to even get ourselves into the game, right? We so worried about, a lot of other things, and we're gonna keep this positive, but we worry about so many other things within our own race and our own culture that we slow ourselves down from even being actual contenders in the ring, so to speak. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at the GDP of our actual culture, we're the lowest. If you look at our, incarceration percentage, we're the highest.
Yeah.
So we're the highest in categories we shouldn't be, and
Mm-hmm.
we're the lowest in categories we shouldn't be. Then at the same token, our actual buying power, every business is in place
Mm-hmm.
because people support them.
Mm-hmm.
If we would control our dollar, we can actually have some say so and influence on these organizations and corporations.
Hey, that's what they talk about with the Jewish people and stuff. I mean, they're known for keeping their dollar in circulation amongst their community and all that. And if I'm not mistaken, y'all heard that before?
It's
Yeah,
typically
yeah.
9 times. It touches their community 9 different times. So that $1 goes through that community 9 different ways before it ever leaves the community.
Mm,
So whether that's supporting a business, in their community, whether that's, supporting a contractor, donations to a nonprofit in their local community, a church. So they understand that GDP matters, right? When you
yeah,
control the dollar, everything in this country is controlled by the dollar, right?
yeah.
Which is actually made up. Somebody along the way made up this fake money and said it's valued at this. So even the constraint of money is an American made up concept that the world has adopted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why every country, the dollar's worth something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not called a dollar everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think, man, it just education is just going to be vital and key. And in our own communities, though, we got to educate ourselves. When you go to different cultures, like I have friends from the East Island, Asian Pacific culture. They go to American school Monday through Friday for conversations of this, purpose of this conversation. Then they go to Saturday. On Saturday, they go up to Cleveland. There's a cultural school they go to from 8 to noon. So they're not only are they learning the American ways, English, math, the standards, but on Saturdays they learn their culture. So as they're growing up, yeah, their kids are learning so they never have this confusion of who we are. They learn their language, their customs, their cultural. You know, if you think about it, and you ask the question, what is an African American custom? We know what African customs are. We know what traditional non-African American customs are. But what is a traditional African American custom?
Good mac and cheese. Nah, I'll just threw that in there.
No, you good, man.
Nah,
But that's
but you're
but
right
those are the
though.
answers,
I mean,
right? Fried chicken, mac and cheese, chitlins, like soul food. That's what we got. We resort to soul food. There is no actual custom. So we generally adopt either standard Americanized traditions, or we adopt, we look at some sort of heritage and we go with some sort of African traditional customs. But as African Americans, we've never created customs for ourselves.
Hadn't even thought about it like that. I hadn't even thought about it like that. That's how it is, man. We
I
gotta
had,
do.
but not.
Go ahead.
I was just saying I had, but not in that way. He put it so eloquently.
Yeah. Oh, shoot, Henry know what he talking about and stuff.
Oh
And
man,
I
appreciate
take
them
the
big
iron
words, man.
sharpens iron.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, iron sharpens iron in this. That honestly, that is what we're moving towards now. It's interesting that we started this on a day that was such a heavy day and stuff, but to still get some of that iron sharpens iron mentality there, I think that's a good thing. I like me and Henry have been friends for a pretty good long time and stuff, and when it comes to business and ethics and things that pertain to us as leaders in our black families and communities and whatnot. I've always appreciated how he's shown me what it is that he's looking at from that point of view and stuff. And a lot of times I'm more like Charlie Hale with a water pistol type of mentality because firemen are like, hey, if it don't fit, force it. I mean, figure it out. That kind of thing. But some things are more of a marathon and stuff, and you have to be playing chess over checkers, like Henry was talking about and stuff. And that's what I like about that, and that's why we've been set up this format to be able to speak, to the people who are willing to be like, hey, look, let me get a different point of view on this, and how are we going to be the solution to a lot of these problems that are being put up. So I gotta say, I was honestly disappointed. I was disappointed in the turnout because I think that we as a people could have turned out better for the vote. It's one thing to be upset about the other side that's deciding to be toxic on that side. I don't want to have it where a few bad apples spoil the bunch, but just like bad cops, if you a good cop watching a bad cop do something bad, then what's that make you? Because you sure ain't a good cop no more. You know what I'm talking about? So, I kind of am looking at it, like that, but we also got to take some onus on ourselves because I know there was a lot of different family and friends that we had that did not that were like, hey, I'm not going to vote. What's the point? It's just like, hey, look, we have to take a vested interest in this. Well, it's not fair, and I don't like it, and this that. Well, this is how the game is played, and these are how the rules get changed. Okay, so you have, with all the power you have to do all these things that you want to do, you also have to take the responsibility that comes with that power to stand up for not just yourself, but those that are coming after you and stuff. So anyway, that's how I looked at it. That's how I looked at it. Is that a little too much, or what y'all think?
Man, I'm gonna challenge that one to just a drop. If you actually look, and this is our first educational challenge for those who are listening or whatever when this is done. If you actually go back and look at the number of people that voted in the United States, there's a two-part question, right? A, why didn't more vote? Because there are more registered voters than who voted. That's problem A, right? Getting people to the polls and finding a reason why
Yeah.
to vote. Problem B is if you break down the demographics of those who did vote, Black men and Hispanic men gave the other side a lot of votes. So we also have a problem with, I mean, obviously you're allowed to vote for who you want to vote for, so I don't want to say a problem. But at the
What,
same
what,
token, if you educationally look at, just take who voted. If you break down men, women by race, sex, age, if you actually, there's, you can go and grab that data. It's online, it's public knowledge. If you go grab that data, you like last number I saw for at least for Black men was somewhere around, you know, 78-ish% of Black men voted for one particular side, whereas it was closer to like 86% of Black women voted for one side. And white women were almost like 47 to 53%. So you had a lot of people who voted. And if you just take the vote that came, just those who showed up at the polls, the election could have been differently. And I'm gonna add a third issue because when Hillary Clinton ran, she won the popular vote but lost the electoral votes. So at least people showed up and kind of voted one way during that election. Yesterday, Harris lost the electoral votes and the popular votes.
wow. See, all that's got to come into play, and I think that's where we got to have more of these barbershop type talks. And when I say barbershop, I mean real type talks with ourselves and stuff, so we understand all the different things. Because I hadn't looked at it that close yet and stuff. But hey, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn. I'm, like I said, I'm willing to be part of the solution and stuff. And wrap this up, sir.
You talking to
Can you
me?
hear me? Maybe I said it wrong.
Yeah.
LJ, you got any final thoughts? Yeah. We're gonna wrap this up, sir.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I do, and I
You
totally
got
agree with
any
what my
final
man
thoughts
said.
on how we move forward and what we need to be doing as a community in the
You're
league?
freezing up again on my side. I don't know what's going on. I can't really. Did you hear what he said, Henry?
Yeah, he said, go ahead and wrap us up with that topic. How can we productively kind of move forward with that space?
Um, well, it's kind of hard to really give that answer for the simple fact, I would have to preemptively preclude a future ideology of what people should do and how they're going to do it. And it's hard to do that when the mind is so vast and do other things. Now, I can tell you what we should do, but whether we do that or not, that's that's be one thing. One thing, and not to be racist about it or whatever, but we see how they turn out when there's something for them involved. When they feel like they're losing something, oh, they're gonna make sure they show up. We got to start trying to understand what are we actually gaining and what are we losing. We're not together as a culture yet. We're Black people aren't together as a culture yet to really demand the things that are necessary for us. We're kind of split on that. And then America itself is not together or cohesive when it comes to humanitarian things. We're still split, bipartisan, if you will, or whatever. We we have to come to a commonality and understand who we want. Right now, we are a people that's built on emotions rather than academics. You know what I'm saying? We don't really we put more into how we feel than what we actually know. We know a lot of things about Donald Trump that was uncomely, but it's something about how he made us feel. For the white man, he made the white man feel like, yes, we're gaining our power back. We're getting America back again. It's gonna be like the good old days. For some black people, the men felt like, yeah, some men may have felt, yeah, men are gonna be the same men that we used to be. A woman is not gonna be able to control us. Then there's other black men that's like, you know what, the economy was a certain way when he was there, so we want him to get the economy back right. We want them stimulus checks. He was putting out money, and so right now we're tugged so many different ways, and he appeals to every aspect of that. I mean, you look at he ran on a platform based on hate, division, and racism. Come on, man, and
Mm-hmm.
won.
Mm.
One, come on. All this time, he says what he wants to say. He freely speaks, and to be honest with you, even for myself, that speaks volumes because for me, he's kind of like that double sided coin where one side in and the other side is like okay, because I'm a big constitutional person.
Mm-hmm.
And although he wants to dismantle the Constitution, he does everything constitutionally. He speaks as freely as he wants to, freedom of speech. He does what he wants to, freedom of travel, freedom of movement, things of those nature. But at the same time, he wants to dismantle that. So now that's the part of the coin that I don't like. And I feel like what happened with the Democrats is he came out with a plan. He knew what he was going to say to the people and whatever. Harris didn't really have a platform to run on. I mean, like he said, we're not going to speak. She said, we're not going to speak about what we're going to do. We're going to speak about what needs to be done. Well, maybe that wasn't the message. Maybe you should have said some things about what you want to do. Maybe you should have put more emphasis into what you can give this person, that person, and whatever, because obviously that's what we were looking for. But when we start becoming more academic than emotional and start basing things on knowledge and having the wherewithal to understand that this candidate is going to implement this policy, although he's telling me here that he's going to do something else. He's implementing this policy. Once we start doing that as a whole, then America can change. That's how I feel.
That's good. That's good. I appreciate you going about it that way, Mr. Henry. Final thoughts, sir.
Final thoughts are we have to first understand that the question of what does it look like to be free is so ambiguous because we've never been free. So I think we spend all our time being reactionary instead of proactive because we're so busy responding to everything. We just running around with duct tape and band-aids, and we never actually get to sit in a space where what does freedom look like and what are we actually trying to accomplish?
Hmm. 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 I like that. I like that. The whole objective here is to actually give our men a chance to sit back and say, hey, you know what? That's worth thinking on. You know, what am I going to be able to do? If money wasn't an issue and I had all my other stuff in for the greater good of all of us and stuff. Yes, I got to look at my own community, and we got to give attention to where, I know one of the things was Black Lives Matter, and then all lives matter. It's like, yeah, all lives matter, but right now it's the Black lives whose house is burning down. That kind of thing and stuff. Well, my house matters. Your house ain't burning. And hoping that we can do, and one of the objectives I feel we hopefully can meet is inspiring others to actually stand up and do what needs to be done, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't necessarily benefit them right then and there and stuff. We got a future in these young ones that are coming up and these up and coming generations and stuff, and to have an America that has uh, voted someone in that really seemed like they were standing on a platform of hate and division was tough. Was tough for all of us and stuff. Was tough for a lot of us, I should say. So either way, I appreciate you guys being a part of the podcast today. We will be coming back next month. We'll be doing, I think my is not good. Either way, I'm gonna say